Okay, hi. So today I thought I would do a video. Like, if you see me looking over here, I made some notes to try to stay on point. Between my last video and now, I have done a lot of thinking of like, what do I want to talk about? What points do I want to come across? And I have lots, but I thought that the first things that we would go over is like some of maybe the specific things to Braden, like his treatment, his care, his diagnosis, things like that, to kind of like give a example of what's going on, what we've went through, what we're going through. Like I said in the previous video, my biggest thing is to try to reach other families that are going through something similar, so that they know that there's a support system. You know, there's other people going through it, so that you don't feel like you're by yourself, because it is a very lonely thing to go through as a parent, especially to feel like your child is the only one that goes through this, which I guess we all know that that's not the case. It's just, it feels that way, especially like from where I'm from. There's not very many people that have children with disabilities or medical needs, especially to this extent, so it does kind of feel a little lonely. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was his halo traction and what halo traction is. I do have a short on my channel that shows him in halo traction. So he was diagnosed at birth with scoliosis, infantile scoliosis. It's scoliosis you're born with. You know, sometimes there's some cases that happen like through puberty, but he was born with it. And they followed it for quite a while, and they tried to do like casts and braces and things like that, and some therapies to help like stretch it out and prolong it, and just kind of wait as long as they could to do any kind of surgery. But in Braden's case, that was not possible. His scoliosis got worse. He also has kyphosis, which is this part up here, and so he's kind of like, you know, pulled together here. His top curve pre-halo was 105 degrees of a curve, and so it was squashing his organs, his lungs. His stomach was not having enough room. He wasn't having very much room to eat. You know, he was only able to eat small amounts because he would get sick, because there's nowhere for it to go. So there was a lot of things that scoliosis for him had affected. So this was like, okay, we've reached this point where, because up until I guess probably the last year-ish, maybe a little bit longer, his scoliosis wasn't really bothering him. It was noticeable, and like every now and then he would complain with like cramping, but it wasn't hurting him. It wasn't causing any other issues. You know, it did, the way he's grown together on that side, his ribs are fused together and to his spine. So on his left side, his lung is smaller, but it was still functioning great, and the right side was kind of making up for that, and so he wasn't really having any breathing issues. And then we started noticing his eating issues and things like that, so we brought it back up, you know, to his doctor, and then to his spine doctor, and they recommended halo traction. Obviously, as a mother, I googled it, which you should never Google things, because you should just never Google things, but I did. I Googled it. And it does look like some kind of medieval torturing device. It really does. That's the first thing that I thought of. I thought, oh my goodness, this is terrible. But I was able to find a Facebook group with other parents and other kids that had experienced it. Some of them are adults now, but had them as children, so they could kind of talk to me as like from their experience, which was great. But obviously, nothing really prepares you for that moment until you're in that moment. So what a halo is it's like a halo, and it goes around your head, and it has 8 pins. So there's some here, 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 and on the same, and you know, and it goes into the skull so that it braces, and then it holds it tight, and then this part comes up and is attached to a pulley system, and then on the pulley is weights, and they gradually put weights, and the goal is to get as many, like half your body weight in weights that's pulling you. Braden had to have this on 24/7, and the only time he was allowed to not have it on was when he was going to the bathroom. He had a wheelchair, he had a walker, he had his bed. Everything in the hospital was made for him to stay in traction, but still be able to kind of move around. So over time, it slowly lifts you up, you know, pulls you, and that's why they do it gradually, but they only go half body weight. So over time, it slowly stretches you out. So Braden was in his halo traction from March 2nd. I think I said March 1st in the first video, but I think it's March 2nd. And then from then all the way till April 11th, he was in halo traction in the hospital that whole time. And then he had when his halo came off, he had his rods placed April 11th. And then he didn't get to leave the hospital till April 14th. But, so that's just like his experience with the halo. Now they do have halos for like other reasons and other things like that, but his was for scoliosis, because his had just gotten so severe. He did have like a large hump on his back, and besides, like, it was, you know, causing other issues, but his spinal cord was really close to touching, and they were super afraid about that, because like once that happens, you can't come back from that. And that's just like really traumatic and stuff, so they didn't want him to have to go through that. Obviously, we all were wanting to prevent it, so that's why they did the halo. And then, like, if there's people out there that, you know, are just following along for information, just to follow along his story, that's amazing. Thank you so much. If there is somebody out there that's child's friend, cousin, aunt, whatever, has to have a halo, you know, it is very scary, and that's why we're putting our story out here. It is very scary. In the first 4 nights were the worst. Braden is 8, so he was not fully understanding. He knew he needed it. He sort of understood why, but especially once they put it on him, he didn't understand why he couldn't take it off. He didn't like it. He didn't want it, and it was really hard. And as a parent, it's really hard. And like, I remember thinking to myself, "Wow, what have I done? Like, this is, you know." And then a couple days went by, and they were rough. And the nurses kept telling me it gets better. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's not got better yet, you know? But it did. It got better. Braden was doing crazy stuff. I mean, he was like in the walker, he was lifting himself up and spinning around while hanging from his halo. So, but it didn't hurt him anymore. It got to the point where it didn't hurt. He enjoyed it. The only thing is, at bedtime, it would pull him back up the bed. So we'd lay him down. You have to have it tilted just a tad bit so that it actually pulls. But slowly over time, as much as he'd move, it would work him up the bed. So that was what bothered him the most, was just annoying, having to be repositioned multiple times a night. But it worked out, and Braden's curve went from 105 degrees to 55 degrees. So a huge change. I mean, just his whole entire hump went away. I mean, it just had like the smallest little bump in it. It was crazy. And seeing those results, and seeing now, which it's been a long journey too. Like, after rod surgery it was incredibly rough. That is a huge surgery. It's mentally draining. It's emotional. It's hard. For Braden, it was super hard for him too, to like, he did get to the point where, and he's super strong. Let me say that. He is super strong. He's been through so much in his short life that I can't even imagine. And he's come through it like a champ. And he came through this like a champ too. But it was rough on him. And so it was very hard on him. And it was just really hard. But there was a day, you know, like there's always a day that comes, and it was better. And then it got better, and then it got better, and then it got better. And then he can run and he can play again. And, you know, we're on the bright side of this halo/surgery experience. We're on the other end. And, excuse me, it did feel like it took forever to get here. At the same time, I also felt like it flew by, because hospital nights are very long. Hospitals run out of things to occupy you with. And, you know, it was like 50 something days that Braden was in the hospital continuously. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So it's like, he got almost depressed. He was like very upset. He couldn't see his friends, but through video chat. He was even wanting to go to school. And what kid wants to go to school, right? But he was ready. He wanted to go back because he was like, if I go to go back to school, then I don't have to be here. But we were in the Children's Hospital in Charlotte, and it was absolutely amazing, the best they could be. I mean, they really go out of their way. The doctor found out that Braden really likes Starbucks. He really likes to get a vanilla cream thing. It's pretty much a milkshake. And he loves those cake pops. I mean, he loves those. And so the doctor found out and would get him a gift card, you know, every now and then for him to go and enjoy it. Just that little bit of care that he showed. It showed me that he really took the extra time to think about Braden and to know, like, hey, you know, he really enjoys this, and this is just a little bit of a way to show, you know, that I'm going the extra mile to think about him as more than a patient. You know, like, I really care about him. I really understand that he's having a hard time, and this would just make his day, and it always did. I mean, he was so excited about it. And, you know, they're fabulous, and there's resources there to help people that we didn't know about, and some of them that we didn't know about till like closer to time to leave. But they're great. And there's like Child Life that comes by and paints with them. They have like playrooms where they can go play. They have Braden actually got to meet football players from the Panthers, and he was so excited. Like, Braden's thing, he loves football. He loves throwing anything really, but he's got such a good arm, and he was so excited. Even in that halo, in that wheelchair, he got up and he was throwing the football with, I think the quarterback's name is JJ Jensen. I know the guy's name is JJ Jensen. I'm just not sure he's the quarterback. I don't really know that, but just to do that with a football player was like amazing for him. It made his whole entire week because he kept saying it. You know, the hospital had like the window cleaners dress up like superheroes. And so the kids are in their room, and like, here pops a, you know, Spider-Man or something. And that was really cool to see which superhero we were going to get when or whatever. So, you know, that was great. And Braden's come a long way, a really long way. And he's doing really good. And he's facing a lot still. There is quite a bit in his near future too. We have lots of appointments and stuff. But I think, you know, I think doing this and being able to be some kind of support, or just some kind of person that kind of tells you like how it is from experience, will help somebody, and I hope that it does. My next couple videos are going to be, I guess, about like my next one will probably be about his heart defect, what he's went through, what he's going through, what he'll have to, you know, like breaking it down, what it is, and things like that. And then we'll just kind of break down each thing. And then from there, then we'll go on, and then we'll just do life. We'll do fun things every now and then that we get to do. I'm still learning how to do videos, still trying to get comfortable in front of a camera, still trying to do my best not to make mistakes, because I still don't know how to edit very well, or at all, really. So I'm trying not to have to do any of that. I'm trying to get it like good the first go. But we're here. We're starting this new journey, and I think it'll be great. So I hope you guys come back and you subscribe to the channel so you can keep watching it as it grows, because I know like right now it's very small, but I'm hoping that we pick up speed and things, you know, kind of take off, and that maybe I'm saying things that somebody needs to hear. So I look forward to seeing you next time.